It appears that Gacha Smack has been proven wrong by Kuro Games. This is a short little video over here, and I heard from the grapevine that I was actually mentioned in it. I assume that this has something to do with the 2.5 story quest, and perhaps some of the drama surrounding it with, well, the state of this comments section. So why don't we go ahead and give it a bit of a listen as somebody who's kind of like been on the forefront, been listening in on all of this, and, you know, somebody whose name has been uttered in this video. Take it away, Mr. Smack.
I think it's safe to say I'm one of Wuthering Waves' biggest critics. You guys know, if it's anybody that's going to lay it out, I'm one of them. I'm not going to say I'm the only guy, but I'm most certainly one of them, right?
Factually true.
But I would also like to say that when it comes to giving proper praise and glaze, I'm one of those guys too. I pride myself in trying to be as fair as I possibly can. And I always try to make sure I'm conscious that I'm not blindly dick riding a game or blindly hating on a game. These are two things I always try to be aware of in my content. And I must say, Kudo Games deserves my thank you. They deserve a lot of people's thank you because what they're doing with their story in real time is something that is setting up a precedent for future gacha games to follow.
I think that he's entirely 1,000,000% correct over here. And I think it kind of lends a lot to, you could just look at all of the upcoming games that are coming out. Think of like your NTEs, think about like your Silver Palaces, all of that, your Rewinding Cadence, that's a big one. A lot of them are taking some of the existing systems of Wuthering Waves from its gameplay. Think about how like its combat works, parries, all of that, the uniqueness, the party switching. They're taking a lot of the elements of Wuthering Waves and then kind of like transplanting them with some variations into their own game. And if the story, which is something that Wuthering Waves, in my opinion, has dramatically improved the quality of, starting from 2.0 to the point where I legitimately do think that it is the best or one of the best stories that exists in the space. That just gives even more sort of like ammunition for other companies in the space, other developers, to go ahead and take more of what's working, to take more of what's positively received, and actually implement it into their own titles. And a good, meaningful story that's well-paced, doesn't waste the player's time, makes them feel like they're playing like an actual game instead of like, or sorry, not like VNs or games too, like an action AAA game as opposed to a visual novel. That is something that I feel like the space just needs a lot more of. Because if the next open world gacha comes out with like a, you know, Mickey Mouse sort of story, very similar to the vein of like a Genshin Impact, or like, you know, you know the titles that I'm talking about, that's going to be rough. That's going to be annoying, and it's going to feel like more of the same old, unnecessary, tired garbage that you're just going to want to skip. I want these games coming out to take on the same sort of dynamic as WuWa, where you have the full functioning skip button, but you never, ever want to actually use it. At least during the main story quest. Because that skipping is just something no one's been incentivized to do for the past, like since the start of the year at least, when it comes to these main stories.
It's a trail of breadcrumbs and it's succeeding. And because it's succeeding, other companies are going to go, hey, we can do that too. That's
what I was saying. Not
great.
Pre-watched.
We thought that we had to do the whole, Paimon said this. No, don't worry, we're all alive in the end.
But that's something that I want to kind of touch on a little bit more. The whole like, oh, Paimon said this, blah, blah, blah. I think without a doubt, based off of some of the conjecture, some of the discussions, some of like the theory crafting, the naysayers, some of the L rovers, the W rovers, the L for Lovas, W for Lovas. When you hear like the reasoning for why people are feeling this way, one thought comes to mind. Some of these individuals needed a Paimon. Some of these individuals forgot like some key details. Some of these individuals haven't really come forward with like a well-formulated overview because they simply have not been able to like retain information regarding the quest. And Paimon for those individuals is very helpful, but including Paimon in the baseline story greatly diminishes the quality of it. So it's a matter of, you either have a really good story that not everybody is going to recognize, not everyone is going to be able to absorb, at least on their first listen, or you have a dog shit story where everyone gets all of the details of it, comprehends it perfectly, but nobody actually wants to play it. That's kind of like what the options are. And knowing the gacha space, there is a shocking lack of reading comprehension. And unfortunately, that does lead into a bit of a sacrifice that the devs need to make. What are they going to prioritize? So that's kind of like the trade-offs there.
But kudos showing that you don't have to do that. It's very nice to see, because I think games, promising games that people are looking forward to, that are anticipating, like Silver Palace, are going to see these things and go, yeah, we can take those risks as well. It makes me very happy and excited for the space. And honestly, it's reinvigorated my faith in storytelling in this space. One thing I never thought I would have. I never thought in the mainstream, in particular, gacha space, that we would actually be compelled to be locked in on a story.
It was good. What can you say? It was good. And the last couple of main stories since 2.0, I think it's kind of been the same feeling for a lot of people.
On a level that isn't just the 1% lore nerds, right? The lore nerds, brother, they can sit through the driest, most dog shit dialogue with slow pacing and presentation and go, oh my God, dude, this changed my life. Let's be real, boys. There's people in the community right now on a side tangent that are saying that the story has always been good in WuWa. Brother, stop fucking lying to yourself, okay? 1.0 to 1.4 was a fucking shit show. I would know because I went back and I've been locked in on it because I've been enjoying 2.5 so much. So now,
hey, take that back about 1.3. Hey, sure, 1.0, fair. What is this 1.1 and 1.3 slander? Come on, what's going on, Smack?
now I'm going back to Shorekeeper, I'm going back to these other things, and I'm sitting here looking at it like, oh God, bro, who the fuck was saying this was good? Like the Shorekeeper quest, the first half of it, oh my God, bro. Slow ass dialogue, horrible voice acting, very hard to stay immersed. The jargons are all over the place.
Stop playing female Rover.
The Tethys system, so it's hard to like stay locked in on that. Most people probably just said, all right, fuck it, bro, I'm over trying to keep up with it, and went through. But like, that was the best of 1.0 and going into 2.0. Imagine prior to that, it was even more of a shit show. The thing I will say though is that Wuthering Waves has always improved patch over patch. I am astonished that 2.0, one of the greatest patches of gacha history in my personal opinion,
True,
they have built on that and improved upon that. I thought, I was completely convinced. I was like, there's no way they will outdo 2.0. They have been outdoing 2.0. I was just like, damn, all right. Well, shit. And it's like, I'm not the kind of guy to dick ride. I just like telling the truth. The story has only gotten better.
I feel like this is either a bit of like rose-tinted goggles or like the opposite of it, where maybe 1.3 on a rewatch isn't as good, but honestly, in my opinion, 1.3, going back to like my memory and how I enjoyed the quest in the moment, it's like on a comparable level to at least like 80 to 90% of what 2.0 and 2.2 was given me. At least in my analysis, right? Or at least in my like kind of like recollection. Maybe it's like the recent memory, the recent quality of 2.4 and 2.2 is what's bringing 1.3 down. But I think he also did say that he's rewatching it. So maybe it actually is just like worse in a lot of ways. That's the thing, right? I assume that Smack's been saying he's been rewatching all of the 1.3 story. So maybe he'll bring up like, I think he did bring up some examples for why it's different.
And that is something I want to talk to you guys about today. And I want to bring awareness to not just the fucking Kudo bots, the whole gacha community. This is a company, regardless of the deeply flawed mechanisms of what is gacha territory instilled into their video game, they have shown you that they aren't just going to fucking milk the cow and sandbag these patches. These patches have been amazing.
I'm glad that he's getting to this part, because I think one of the main things that people end up feeling almost like a little bit betrayed about in the gacha space is to like know that a company's making a lot of money, know that their banners are being successful, their characters are selling, the power creep, HP inflation is working, and then to see them take all of those funds, take all of that revenue, and actively make the games worse. Where you know that's happening in Genshin Impact. The game is literally being made worse by the balance of the characters and locking everything in the game behind the banners. Locking elemental reactions behind the game, exploration, blah, blah, blah. Then you got, like, the whole situation with HSR and the global passives and the power creep. You kind of just imagine, in, like, a normal transaction for a business, you'll give them money, then they'll improve their product, and as you give them more money, the product that you'll be getting back as time goes on should get better and better. That's kind of like what you expect in like development and like games and quality and that sort of stuff. And unfortunately, Kuro Games and Wuthering Waves is kind of like one of the big examples of where you actually see your money and your time actually turning into something decent. Actually turning into an improvement on the original product. And that's just not something you can say for a lot of other games.
Wasn't here, I was in China, but I saw everybody calling this patch a filler patch. Saw everybody shitting on it because of the live stream wasn't as hype as they wanted them to be, and look at us now. I'm not a part of that crew. When I saw it in China, I said, I remember talking to Pokey. He was like, what do you think? I was like, listen, man, my rule is very simple. If the MSQ gets an update, that's not no fucking filler patch, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. We got another motherfucker who has the original opinion on the matter.
And now all the other little extra variables that you get with it, that's cool and all, but the MSQ is what like
I don't even know if Pokey said that though. I think that's what Smack said.
Takes the wave and pushes it forward. As an MSQ progresses, so does excitement in world building, exploration, all the new little like things to grind for. It's like, it's the wave. It's the wave that pushes forward.
One of the biggest critiques of Genshin 5.7 was that there was a like there was this crazy thing that happened in the Genshin world where you had like the introduction of like spaceships and like time travel and all of that. But then after the Genshin 5.7 quest, it felt like nothing changed. I don't know what it is about Wuthering Waves 2.5, but after the WuWa 2.5 quest, I feel like the world changed. Because now I know about like the full extent of like certain resonance powers. There's now like literally some sort of like afterlife in the game. There's like an afterlife in the universe that like people could potentially go to and then like transform into like TD Echo hybrids and then like still like live on. There were like so many lore drops, so much characterization of Fraxidus, you know, like a different characterization to the Fraxidus enemies that are like, you know, that are in the overworld and on the map. You have a different view about like what TDs even are, the things that you're farming every single day. It's like a total reframing of so many different concepts in the game that make everything feel different. While in Genshin, it doesn't feel that way, even after their big lore reveals. And I guess that's just like the matter of like either the contextualization or what the devs are even willing to make the story about in the first place. Because it feels like with Genshin, there's just never any fucking actual plot progression. But with WuWa, it's just like upfront, it's center, it's meaningful, it's meaty. And it's just like they don't like pull their punches when it comes to what information they're willing to show to the player. It's like they're not scared of overwhelming them.
And so I never thought it was a filler patch, to be completely honest with you. Just this on a little bit of a side tangent here.
Yeah, same here. Never thought it was a filler patch. It's got main story progression. The only thing is, could have a bit more combat events. But I think Dreaming Deep is meant to be the replacement for them.
Getting back on track, what precisely has prompted me to make this video is, one, I cannot stop thinking about the story. Not that 2.5 is a 10 out of 10. I'm not saying that. It's that the risk they have taken, the stakes they have brought to the table, and the morally gray area of a moral compass, depending on perspective, that has been introduced in this patch are things you don't see in this fucking space at large. You don't. And here's some important variables that are worth truly applauding. Usually in gacha game stories, they can't deliver all facets of what make up a good story consuming experience, right? Usually it's like they fail at majority of them, but they're good at like one avenue. I'll give you an example. Good at story writing, sucks at presentation, right? Good at presentation, sucks at story writing. VAs, pacing, slow, bit rough around the edges, not very well polished. A lot of these little things I'm pointing out, you can play any gacha game and you're gonna find many of them are problematic and one of them is pretty good. In WuWa, many of them were problematic, but as the patches went by, it started
I think all those characteristics that he talked about, they're pretty much like figured out at this point.
going dropping off. Oh damn, they fixed the VAs. Oh damn, they fixed the convoluted dialogue. Oh shit, they fixed the pacing. It's like holy, oh shit, they fixed the camera angles. It's like god damn, they just literally remedying it all. And that's something that like deletes the thought of okay, they're just sandbagging. Okay, they're just milking the cow. Okay, 3 years have gone by and HSR still ain't hired a better cameraman.
Black Swan touches her forehead to March 7th. Wasn't that the best way to start off Hawkeye Star Rail 3.0? With one of the most lazy black screens with white text the industry might have ever seen. Like, these motherfuckers were too lazy to show two foreheads render, to render two foreheads touching. Brother.
Seriously though, that's something that is worth applauding.
And then the black screen with white text. I think in WuWa 2.5, the black screen with white text was like a sentence where it's like, I dreamt of like a world or something and where we were together and then I like woke up, right? And then everyone's like, this is the best black screen with white text I've ever seen. Like, it's actually better that it was black screen with white text instead of like an actual dialogue or a rendered cutscene. I feel like somebody at Kuro Games knew and intentionally made it that pivotal and showed you what a good black screen with white text looked like so that now, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you, the next ZZZ quest, the next Genshin quest, the next HSR quest, they better watch out, because that black screen with white text that they put in, the next one that they put in their story quest, it better be good. Otherwise that shit's gonna get made fun of until the end of time. Like, imagine if it's a bad one. Like, a really bad black screen with white text. Oh, dear Lord. It's not going to be a good look, boys.
One more thing that I want you to take into consideration, and I think I want to, like, tackle the nuances of this next one pretty fairly. This story has gotten so good at, like, finding its pieces that it's set up as foundations and carrying them onward. It's gotten to the point now that if you really want to enjoy it for real, and it's gotten so good, you got to go back to them prior patches.
I think that's a fair take to have, especially when you're in like the 2.5 kind of like doorway, hallway, corridor scene where you're like in Frolova's head or her scenario, and then you're like exploring different parts of her past. Yeah, there's a lot of throwbacks to some of like the 1.0 arcs to, you know, kind of like the whole thing going on with like Dreamless, Overthrax, Scar, all of that goodness. And it's just, you've gotta, you know, it requires a bit of a refresher, even for the day one players like myself, because that shit was over a fucking year ago. Literally, it's over a year ago. 1 year ago, we were in Mount Firmament. That's how long it's been.
And them prior patches ain't easy because they're not as good as what you're consuming today, right? And they have very pivotal pieces of the world building that you want to keep in mind going forward to kind of keep up with the plot or like the intense things that are getting ready to occur or not occur. Who knows?
I feel like Smack, if he's looking for some absolutely diabolical content, should do like a recap or like a re-summary of version 1.0 to 1.4 and then like give his thoughts on like recontextualizing all of it with the context of 2.5 and maybe like all the 2.0 arcs that have come afterwards. Though I think 2.5 is probably like the main one in terms of like what makes the most sense. He's already going in and rewatching all of that shit. I don't think most other people are gonna do that, to be honest. Why don't you do that? Because then I'd have to rewatch a bunch of fucking story. And he's already done it. So that's why I'm suggesting it.
I have been doing this, and now I've got a more deeper motivation to go and understand things like what the Tethys system was or what happened in 1.0. Even though it was fucking dog shit, there's some sweet wisdom to consume from there that's going to make me appreciate the story in the future.
That's what I'm saying. He already done it.
On the other end of the spectrum, although I just praised that, I think the community's being fucking cringe and too harsh on people who aren't going back to do these things. And then they're going, well, you didn't know this from this patch. You didn't know this from this patch. So
guys, and I think this is kind of like one of the parts of the video where it's pretty healthy for us to weigh in. I personally don't think I've seen, heard, or witnessed everybody or anybody being like an exceptional lore nerd in anyone's comment section. I think right now, personally, I think that the issue that Smack is bringing up is valid, and it's true for other games. I think what he's saying over here is 1000% applicable to Genshin Impact, right? Genshin Impact, and then one of their latest teasers for like Nod Crier 6.0 with like their heavenly shades or whatever, right? And then people are bagging on Hoyo CCs for not understanding like the intricate lore like expressed in a fucking artifact. And they're like, oh, look at this guy, he's a fake Hoyo fan. He's a fake Genshin player. Yeah. Right? That whole situation over there. And the thing is that when it comes to WuWa, I don't see anyone talking about like lore adaptation or like lore understanding. Like, you know, oh, you didn't remember this the scene back in 1.0? Yeah, clearly you're a fake Kuro bot. You're a fake WuWa fan. I don't really see too much particularly related to that. But what I do see in the context of this is naturally, right? It's naturally going to be related to all of the stuff in the comments section. Naturally, you're seeing a lot of comments about one creator in particular, Genazad. And this is the thing, right? I think this comment, the top upvoted one on here that even has more than his own pinned comment, and it was made after his pinned comment. I'm talking about the numbers over here because I think that this is the one that is probably closest to accurately portraying the issue. I'm sorry, Unk, but this is totally on Jenna. He disregarded all the criticism with it's all just Kurobots while not reading comments at all. I think that's mainly the first one, right? And he also called them, like, waste of oxygen, waste of space, retarded, the entire laundry list, right? Of, like, kind of mean things to hear, that you're not going to be happy with somebody if they call you that. It's like, it's a combination of not reading the comments, yeah, being told you're too stupid to live. It's a combination of, like, not even reading what's in those comments and then saying all those things about the people making them when it's, at least from my interpretation, it was their own viewers giving that critique because they're the ones that were watching them play through the quest. Yeah, they weren't paying enough attention, at least from their point of view.
So how dare you say the story isn't that good? How dare you give it a 7? Genazad, my brother, is one of the people that comes to mind. It's like, dude, you can't fault somebody for not going back to consume garbage just to keep up with the now improved upon story.
Smack is 100% correct here. He's 100% correct with what he's saying over here. But from what I read, and I think I read about 80% of the comments that were talking about him, that wasn't what they were addressing.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, brother, I don't want to go back and watch these 2 dog shit seasons of this show. Just because season 5 is so god tier, that doesn't mean I gotta go back and absorb these 2 out of 10 seasons. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm sorry, but like that was just such a horrible experience. I wasn't locked in on it. In fact, that shit was.
And this is the thing. It's kind of unfortunate that what he's saying is so 1000% true. I just think that the framing is unfortunately not attached to the right situation. But he's correct. He's right.
Was so ass, I just said, fuck the story on this game. I'm just going to enjoy the combat in the end game. Many people shared this sentiment. A lot of us did. Hell, I did. You know what I mean? It wasn't until 2.0 where I was like, hold on now. You had to sit up in the chair and lock in. Hold on now. They kind of cooking. But you can't like expect people to have to go.
I see why now. You guys know how pretty much Smack's pinned comment is about it. Pretty much every single comment is about it. I see why now there are so many comments about Genazad. It's because Smack misfired on what the situation was, and everyone in the comments is just trying to correct the information. That's all it is. That's actually all it is, because once again, Smack's spitting over here. It's just not applicable.
Go back now and pick up all those shit pieces just to understand more and have a better experience in the present to then go, okay, you know what, never mind, this is more of an 8.5 now that I understand this and see how it's all roped together. Oh shit, that's kind of an 8.5 now, you know, like it doesn't work that fucking way. And if you think about that deeply, you'll understand that it's okay for people to give the story a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, a 5, because all of us have different ways of consuming this game, or like different priorities of what we're looking for. You can't expect them to have your fucking experience. It's like, it's cringe, bro, this community sometimes. The mental gymnastics I've seen people go just to try and preserve the perfection of Rover's image. It's like, you niggas are losers. Damn, are you mad at that? Well, be mad at yourself, because that's some loser ass shit. Brother, he's flawed. That's why people are loving it, because he's revealed his flaws. It's okay. He is a hypocrite. It's okay to admit that. You know,
I think Gotcha's dealing with his own demons right now, to be honest. I think he's in a bit of a war with like the L Rover and the W Rover crowd. Yeah, he's got his own tussles. He's got his own demons to fight in the background.
it's completely fine, man. He's self-serving in many ways, and I think that's gonna add to his character development and future story plots and intensity going forward. That's what makes good story writing. And then it gets the community involved. The community starts chirping, and then the world hears about it, and more people get into the game.
I mean, if anything, based off of his opinion over here, he should actually be loving the amount of feedback and the negative critique he's getting for his Rover takes. Because if anything, that's just more and more fueling of this discussion. So maybe the right framing isn't to call them, like, you know, loser behavior. You actually want to encourage this behavior so there's more discussion. This is like kind of what I mean, is like, I feel like he's going through it because he kind of just like was talking all this shit about people disagreeing with his Rover takes, but then talked about how the disagreement's actually really good for the space. So it's like like I can see there's a struggle. I can see that there's a struggle right here. Couldn't be me.
Game, and now the game grows. You know, these are all the things that I wanted to talk about. I think all of this stuff that I'm talking about is obviously oozing of passion, oozing of interest, and it's creating a atmosphere
Absolutely.
of, wow, you know what? Fuck that in game. Oh, maybe this was their plan the whole time. Maybe this is why they never listened to adding more in-game in the game. I don't even know who the fuck I am anymore, guys.
What just happened?
I have completely flipped the script on who I am as a content creator for WuWa. You don't see guides from me anymore. I don't give a fuck about talking about these characters' intricacies, because honestly, it's just the hologram fight that's a shelf fight, right? It's like, oh, that was so good the first time. All right, I'm done. The Tower of Adversity shit sucks. They still haven't built it. You know, they haven't done anything to it. It's like we've gotten to the point now where the story is so good. That's all I need.
So is this him just like, he's just like, fuck the gameplay. Even though Wuthering Waves is supposed to have the best gameplay, I'm just gonna say fuck the gameplay. I'm actually here for the story. It's like, bro walked into a Red Lobster and ordered steak. That's kind of what's going on over here.
I don't give a flying fuck about anything else unless they build on that card game.
He ordered the steak and like the mashed potatoes.
Story has completely changed who I am as a gacha content creator for Wuthering Waves. All I care about now is having good conversation and touching up on the topics and trying to create good discussion amongst the community. And
okay, so he's just a lore CC now. Guys, Gacha Smack is now a lore CC. Is an applicable title? WuWa 2.5 changed his life. WuWa 2.5 caused a second awakening.
And that MSQ update is the only thing I'm looking forward to these days, as well as playing with the character for a little bit. But I never thought I never thought in a million years this would be the gotcha smack of today. I never thought this. Because story has been so shit. You know, I know I've been yapping y'all's ears off, and I feel like I have, but the purpose of this video was to kind of give credit.
I'm not gonna lie, bro basically just like gave the sloppiest of toppies to Kuro. One of the biggest sloppy toppies I've ever seen. No joke. No joke. This might be the biggest sloppy toppy I've ever seen a CC give a dev before. No lie, brother. Hey, y'all might be getting on my case as like a Kuro glazer. I'm gonna be real here. Who be glazing more? Who be glazing more? I don't even feel like I've ever been like, bro literally said it like changed his career. Like, it altered his mindset approaching content creation. Nice pause. Oh, that's diabolical. Wait, that's diabolical. That's a diabolical pause. It looks like he's like gripping so long on
credit to the company, because we all know that the consumer is capable of criticism, but a lot of the times the consumer doesn't get on camera and just give undeniable praise.
Brother, you literally said it changed your life. Or, okay, not changed your life, but it like altered the pathway of your career with how good it was. That's way more than I've ever said, right? Am I on the record ever saying anything crazier than that? Completely shifted the road ahead for my content creation career. Kuro Games and their amazing Wuthering Waves story.
All right, unless you're St. Tontaz, then you're glazing 24/7. Hey, man, that was a shot. Hey, brother, you know, friendly shot at you, my boy. All right.
Hey, motherfucker, let's get down to brass tacks for a second, buddy. I've actually pumped out 2 critique videos in the past 2 days. What about you? Bro's over here talking about how he's like one of the biggest critics of Kuro Games. Let's just look at the profile, buddy boy. Where are the critiques at, bucko? Oh, nope. Oh, you're glazing. Glazing. Lying. Glazing. What else? What else? Where it at, though? Where are the critiques at? Glazing. 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 I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Yep. So, I guess it turns out you lied here, and you lied at the start of the video. What is this? What does this guy do? What is this? What is this stolen valor about critiquing Kuro Games? This stolen valor about critiquing Wuthering Waves when I can't even see a single one. Good God, brother, come on.
I think that's gonna wrap up all of my thoughts. I think I would like to end this video off with, I hope they continue to take risk. I hope they continue to, create morally gray areas for the community to discuss. You're going to have a couple of retards who can't hide their biases when they're having a conversation. And it's ironic. Those people try to accuse you of having a bias. It's like, nigga, what? Look in the mirror. But I hope this continues because it's ultimately healthy for the community. It's healthy for the space. And it's going to set a good precedent for future gacha games to take those same risks, all for the sake of delivering a good story. My boy Christoforo will know all about that. That's gonna wrap it up, man. Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
That was a really interesting video from Smack. I'm always happy to hear about how a game is going ahead and I guess changing somebody's life. But yeah, I guess we are now confidently either the number 2, number 3, or maybe even the number 4 Kurobot at this point in time, because I think that without a doubt, Smack has earned perhaps the number 1 or the number 2 title. I think he still needs to compete with Nicholas Light and Glaive Kyo, though honestly, Glaive is actually uploading more Genshin videos nowadays, so maybe it's a battle for top 3. This was without a doubt, like, one of the most... I mean, I already said it before. This was one of the most glazy videos I've ever seen, but honestly, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to hear that a game could be this satisfying, that someone could find this much fulfillment for what they experienced during gameplay, right? And a lot of people consider story to be almost like a secondary or even like a tertiary element of these games, kind of focusing more on like gameplay, character design, gacha, up gear, whatever, all that stuff first, and then story's kind of in the back burner. But hearing that somebody is using like story as one of like the main reasons or the main emphasis for why they play a game is honestly, right, particularly refreshing. And the way that they're able to get people from kind of like all walks of gaming, the more dedicated waifu collector gacha players, and then like the normies that are coming in, and they all have, right, a pretty universal positive reception to these stories. Hey, that's a lot of talent going on in the writing department, a lot of talent going on in like the gameplay team to be able to actually craft this sort of like E for everybody. Not the rating, but kind of like how people like it. Kind of like an E for everybody sort of game that is universally accepted across the community. Awesome stuff. Let me know what you all think. Peace.